is hardening. This is my end. Actually, what I'm going to do, I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not. I'm just chunking the edges down all the way around. And then where that tip is, I don't know if you can see it or not, just working the edges back around, because I don't want that where I sawed it off to suck in moisture, which will cause it to weaken and rotten. Now we roast marshmallows. It's really better if you don't stick it in the flame. There's some coals down there and I don't know if you can see them or not. But I'm really not working the flame. I'm just working the coals, rolling it around, trying to keep an even twist on it. You don't want any brown spots. Kind of like bending arrows and bows. She's kind of warm. Now I just start shaving it down. But you kind of see what I'm doing. I stuck it in the wrong spot, trying to keep from stabbing myself. That'll give it a hard tip in case you had to wallop somebody or something. It sure put a stinging on them, or it. This kind of work here kind of helps you out when you go to hardening other things that are made out of wood that you need to learn how to harden. But I'm not here to give lessons because I'm really not qualified. I just like to give out my little 10 cents that I do know. And chit chat. You know, getting out here and just hanging out is fun. I mean, it's just, I'm sitting here in the middle of nowhere, well, middle of Taylor's Ridge, with a little fire, whittling on a piece of wood, talking into a camera. Can't even see me. Looks like I'm getting an Allen Hobbs now, brother. Looks like I'm using the edge of the blade to sand and shave. It's basically running it at 90 degrees. And I'm just shaving it. And that's getting all the outer bark off of it. Burn it off. Kind of limited to my coals now. I'm really not trying to do a whole lot. poker out of it. I hate getting it in that flame. I'm trying to roll it enough to just heat it. That's the whole trick. Whether you have to use direct heat or cold, that's all you're trying to do. This is boring. This is probably when you fast forward it. I was going to talk about some other stuff. In the comment section, when you comment, put things down that you do, or shoot me to a link on a video if you've got one that lets me know what you do when you're out on a camping trip at night. I mean, I've been doing this here for so long, I'd like to see something new. And this is pretty much what I do on every camping trip at night, is find a green piece of wood and dry it out and turn it into something. And there's got to be more to do than that. So when you if you watch it and you comment and you got into it this far and didn't zip past it like I've done as well on some videos, tell me what you do while you're at the campfire. I mean, do you read a book? Do you write in your journal, which I write in mine? And stuff like that. But just tell me what you do. It's hard to see anything out here now. I've got a lantern over there. It's on very dim right now. I didn't want to overpower the fire. I know a lot of people, I've heard, well, I've been told that a lot of people just like to see a fire on video and just watch it. You know, and I kind of thought, well, I didn't see why. But then, maybe if somebody can't get out and enjoy the nature, maybe this is their way of being able to see it and remember it or think about it. So, there's your fire. An old man working on his son's stick for walking. You know, I've got one that I made about 4 years ago, and it's the only one that I actually need. But I make these sticks for him. It's kind of like some people put a mark on the bathroom wall. Well, I'm hoping that I can reflect back when I see all those walking sticks over in the corner one day when I'm too old to get up and get out and do anything or go anywhere. I can look back and say, you know, I remember all 15 of them sticks that I made him. And those that he was with me, and some of those like tonight where he's not with me. So it's kind of a memory lane for me to be able to see as he grows and gets taller. And he's gotten so tall now. The fire's hot. He's gotten so tall now, it's hard to, you just about have to go camping every week to make him a new stick. And when we're out, if we're out hiking or walking, he will find him a stick. Generally, he won't cut one down. He'll find one, and there's one in the back of my truck where we went just the other day, and he actually, it's an old broken pine limb. It's about this big around. It's maybe 4.5 feet long, and it's going in, it's almost a Z. he picked it up and started walking with it. He said, "Look, Daddy, I got my own walking stick." So it's just going to go in that collection too of Caden's walking sticks. It's funny how children at that age can actually grow up right before your eyes and still be so small or so young. I mean, some of the things that he does just blows me away. Of course, you know, I know technology is a lot more advanced than it was in my days, and mine was more advanced than it was in my dad's days, and so on and so on as time has gone on. They just seem to get so much more in, I mean, their vocabulary is so much more in depth, and his vocabulary is really better than mine. And this morning my wife was telling me, this afternoon when she dropped him off, this morning she was telling me this afternoon that he was in the back seat in the full car seat, and he says, "Mom," he says, "don't tell him I've got a cough." He says, "'cause they won't let me go outside and play." So, I mean, to be 4, that's just the thing. To be 4 years old and to already know, "Mom, don't let the teachers know I got a cough because they won't let me go outside and play with the other kids today." So, you know, I wouldn't have been that smooth at 4. Of course, I mean, we didn't have kindergarten in my area, you know, and he's only in pre-K, but we didn't have kindergarten. You know, we stayed at home with Mom and Dad, or the babysitter. Of course, in my case, you know, by the time I was 6, 7 years old, you know, you were pretty much left alone while they were working, you know. Of course, my grandmother lived right next door to us, you know, and we'd hang out up there, but we'd be out by ourselves. After school, you know, we walked home, and sometimes we'd ride a school bus, but whenever I got a little bit older, we rode the school bus because the school was a little bit further away. But when I went to the grammar school, it was just like 6 blocks away. But it took 15 minutes to get there walking in the morning, but it took 3 hours to get home in the afternoon because all the roads seemed to be blocked off and you had to take the long way around. That's what I told everyone. But I was trying to, on another subject, I was trying to pinpoint how long have I done what is now called bushcraft. I don't think I've ever done bushcraft in a sense that I see it being taken to now in the direction that it's in. But as a child, we lived in the woods. I mean, we lived in the city, but there was like a 4-block radius, about 3 acres of woods that surrounded us in 3 different places. It's just undeveloped land. Now it's all been developed. But we made huts, teepees, these debris shelters. Of course, now they didn't always look like a spider shelter or a wiki up and things like that. You know, sometimes they would just be a branch that had fallen down that was long, and we just throwed a bunch of limbs and debris over it, and we'd close off the front of it and make an igloo style kind of like thing. And, you know, didn't spend a lot of time in it when it was raining, you know, but those things have been going on since I was like old enough to get up and get out of the house. And, you know, we would take on Saturday afternoons, you know, in the summertime, sometimes even during the week too. But me and a friend of mine, we would take off, and there was a creek called Duck Creek. Go figure, there wasn't a duck in it. But it was 8-9 miles away from where we lived at, and we would load our bicycles up. I remember we'd take them little bread ties, and we would tie our Zepco 202s to the middle bar on the frame with them zip ties or them little bread ties, and we'd get our food, we'd tie it onto a knapsack like thing that I don't know how we ended up with them. I think his mother made them for us. It's like a knapsack, haversack kind of thing. We'd put our food in that, and we'd take a stringer and our fishing lures, and we would leave out. I mean, we're talking 7, 8, 9, 10 years old at the oldest. I can't give you an exact. I know we weren't too much older than that, because by then we found girls, and it was a while before we got back to the woods. But anyway, we would sit out there and leave early in the mornings, and we would go fish on Duck Creek and walk that creek, walk and ride bicycles. Of course, you can't do that now as a child, and I understand,